Rape on Deuteronomy 21, really? They say, Deuteronomy 21 speaks of forced marriage between an Israelite soldier and a captive woman, by force. Therefore, it's rape. Let's quote the verse. Deuteronomy 21 10-14. 10. When thou goest forth to war against thine enemies, and the Lord thy God hath delivered them into thine hands, and thou hast taken them captive. 11. And seest among the captives a beautiful woman, and hast a desire unto her, that thou wouldest have her to thy wife. 12. Then thou shalt bring her home to thine house, and she shall shave her head, and pare her nails. 13. And she shall put the raiment of her captivity from off her, and shall remain in thine house, and bewail her father and her mother a full month, and after that thou shalt go in unto her, and be her husband, and she shall be thy wife. 14. And it shall be, if thou have no delight in her, then thou shalt let her go whither she will, but thou shalt not sell her at all for money, thou shalt not make merchandise of her, because thou hast humbled her. Unquote. The thing is, in interpreting any verse from the Torah, it necessitates to consider all contextual relationship between it, in relation to the whole Torah before coming to conclusion, as it says. Leviticus 19:15. 15. Ye shall do no unrighteousness in judgment, thou shalt not respect the person of the poor, nor honor the person of the mighty, but in righteousness shalt thou judge thy neighbor. Unquote. This verse allows for righteous judgment with regards to any issue in general, including the issue on the captive woman. Will it be righteous judgment to have her as a wife through forced marriage? What is the righteous judgment for something like it? This must be answered with context, for it to be right, and the context says. Deuteronomy 27:19. 19. Cursed be he that perverteth the judgment of the stranger, fatherless, and widow. And all the people shall say, Amen. Deuteronomy 16:19. 19. Thou shalt not wrest judgment, thou shalt not respect persons, neither take a gift, for a gift doth blind the eyes of the wise, and pervert the words of the righteous. Unquote. Context is saying, we must not pervert and wrest, or alter, decline, dishonor, etc., the judgment, or discretion of the captive woman you wish to marry. Judgment in Hebrew in the Strong's Concordance is mishpat, to mean discretion or judgment among others. Two of the Hebrew meaning is discretion and judgment. In the verse could be translated this way, Cursed he be that pervert the discretion or judgment of the stranger, meaning, her decision, or consent, as indicated by saying discretion and judgment, or wise decision, must be upheld, honored and respected, because no one must pervert nor wrest it. Thus that, as context, we could make a conclusion on Deuteronomy 21 that, this verse in considering context in the Torah don't suggest of forced marriage nor rape as in matters of biblical jurisprudence where context is fundamental. The consent of the captive woman must be highly respected, thereby, she has the power to accept or decline marriage. It says, quote, Cursed be he that perverteth the judgment or discretion of the stranger. Thou shalt not wrest judgment or discretion, unquote. Therefore when the cherry-picked verses says, And seest among the captives a beautiful woman, and hast a desire unto her, that thou wouldest have her to thy wife, then thou shalt bring her home to thine house, unquote. Was bringing the captive woman to your house as your wife by 1, force, or 2, mutual consent? It didn't say, right. By the verses alone in particular, nothing suggests anything, may it be by force or consent, nothing, therefore, being a prudent assessment suggests the necessary intervention of context on things that are vague and ambiguous. And context has clearly spoken, consent is a requirement that must be upheld. Having a contextual reality, we must not assume an interpretation based on making the verse in Deuteronomy 21 as independent, or standalone verse. It must be interpreted with context, thus as conclusion, an Israeli soldier can only marry a captive woman provided it's consensual. There is no hint there 8 on forced marriages. The conclusion needs context, as context is fundamental in making logical analysis even in the Bible. Solomon suggested it this way. Ecclesiastes 7:27. 27. Behold, this have I found, saith the preacher, counting one by one, to find out the account, unquote. How to find out the account? By putting all necessary premises, one by one, to be able to make a conclusion, thereby finding out the account. In short, contextual analysis. Those who make conclusion based on cherry-picked materials are bound to error. Or, misinterpretation based on assessment that lacks the logical procedure of deduction. Or least, induction. The thing is, Solomon wasn't alive then to determine contextual analysis, but the Torah itself had already laid out parameters, that in so doing, there must be righteous judgment. Righteous judgment implied the use of contextual analysis, so to uphold integrity. Leviticus 19:15. 15. Ye shall do no unrighteousness in judgment, thou shalt not respect the person of the poor, nor honor the person of the mighty, but in righteousness shalt thou judge thy neighbor. Therefore, context is necessary. Shrek, you're debunked even, you're Muslim intellectuals. Thank you.